All right, so our next presenter, Judith Teall, is the Director of Clinical Experience at Exco InTouch. She has 20 years of experience in clinical research from major pharmaceuticals, and she originally graduated as an RGN nurse and spent the first 6 years of her career in hospital settings. Her 3 fun facts are she's experienced 2 earthquakes in Turkey and the UK, so if things start shaking, you guys know who to kind of watch to model what to do. She decided to becoming a late-blooming adrenaline junkie, having recently experienced an adventure holiday in Costa Rica. And both her sister and she have twin boys. And so, all right, so, and with that, she will take it away, handing over the touch of responsibility, A Mother's Tale.
Okay, thank you very much. So today I want to introduce you to one of my sons, my eldest son, Henry. He's only eldest by 3 minutes. And just to take you through his first 21 years of his journey. And I just realised, sorry, I haven't got the controller. Thanks.
Other way.
Okay. So Henry and his identical twin Alex were born rather earlier than expected, at just less than 28 weeks. And for the next 10 weeks, they took us on an emotional roller coaster. Initially, it was just a case of survival, but they made it home. And we were thrilled that day, obviously, to get both of our sons back to where they really belonged in the family environment. Now, Henry was always the bigger and stronger and healthier one of the two, being born at 2 pounds and 5 ounces. He was a bruiser. But unfortunately, he didn't really develop with the same progress as his twin Alex. And we began to think that there was perhaps something not quite right. So at 13 months, he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And as those of you who know about the condition, it's really underpinned by physiotherapy, and more physiotherapy. And whatever shape and package you put it in, it's there for life. It's part of your daily routine. So the first part of his life was really all about learning to walk and increasing his mobility and enhancing his posture. So we spent a lot of time exploring different mobility aids and pieces of equipment that would assist him. And we were delighted that we had a lot of support with that, both through the health service in the UK, but also through different charity opportunities as well. And as a caregiver, we obviously had to implement a lot of this on a daily basis. He stood in a standing frame to stretch him out. We called this his torture chamber, and he enjoyed it. He played here with magnets on the fridge. He learned his alphabet and his numbers by doing this. And he spent a lot of time learning to walk with crutches and in a walking frame where he was able to play football with his twin. He also spent a lot of time wearing these what we call AFOs, ankle foot orthosis, or splints as you might know them, both in the daytime when he was walking around, and also sometimes he had to wear night splints as well to stretch him out. Now these were quite challenging to try and find footwear to fit, so I spent a lot of time in the shoe shops around Great Britain. And unfortunately, because of the way he walked, he dragged his feet along the floor and often went through a pair of shoes in about 6 weeks, so I was constantly back at the shoe shops. Now, he got to about 8 years old, and bang on cue, as we'd been told by the healthcare practitioners, this would emerge, the big why me. He'd been born with the condition, and he'd not known anything different, but obviously, eventually he got to a stage where he was emotionally intelligent enough to ask, why has this happened to me? And this occurred one Christmas when his twin was getting a pair of football boots for Christmas, and obviously it dawned on Henry that he wasn't getting a pair of football boots. So after a whole day of the family just being completely emotionally upside down, we actually emerged as a stronger unit, and there was a greater sense of calm, and this was actually the pivotal turning point when he really began to accept his condition. We explored all sorts of different treatment options. Some of them were rather painful, some of them not particularly long-lasting benefits. But But I also got to do some cool things as well, such as Gait Analysis. And I don't know if anybody here understands what this is, but it's a 360-degree imaging technique which was actually developed only a few years before he had it done to actually create the character Gollum in Lord of the Rings. So Henry got to spend about 3 or 4 hours in a unit such as this one on the top right, actually trying to get an understanding as how he was walking, with the prospect of understanding how he would have further treatment options such as surgery. And surgery came. So when he was in his teens, he had 2 series of major operations, both bony and soft tissue operations, what they call multi-level surgery, which involves surgery at multiple levels throughout the legs. And obviously this was a painful experience. It also took about 2.5 months to recover each time, and I worked from home for about 3 months each time, trying to do my day job, nurse him, and also help him to get through his schooling work as well. But throughout all of that, he actually had a smile on his face. He was very positive, and we realized he was made of really tough stuff. And here you'll see, this is how he attacks life. He gets out there, he seizes the day, and he actually shows other people that what he's all about. It's not just about being disabled, but he shows them about his abilities as well. And here he is on all sorts of mobility tools, both 3- and 4-wheeled and 4-legged as well. He loves being involved in everything. He, as a teenager, got involved in all sorts of activities. University life beckoned, and he really embraced that. And obviously, learning to be independent at university is a big part of it. So he's really taken every opportunity to enjoy that, including being Professor X next to Banana Man and Captain America. Bureaucracy plays a big part in disability, and I've, as a caregiver, have actually handed over much of that to him now, and really had to, in the later years, try and help him to manage his own condition, not just from the physical perspective, but from the sort of social perspective as well. He's also learned that there are many opportunities around the world. He's learning to sort of travel and be more independent in his travel. We recently went to Iceland, and he learned that landscapes can be challenging with a wheelchair. Skating on ice is actually something quite interesting. You should try it sometime. He went to Hong Kong recently to his brother's wedding, and realised also that there are different attitudes towards disability, and he was actually quite a novelty there. People didn't seem to see somebody as independent as him, pushing himself around, and had quite a lot of people really looking at him differently. Now, I think we're actually at a turning point in our lives where he's really starting to perhaps look after me a little bit more as well now, which I'm really looking forward to in later life. But I've been reflecting back in recent weeks, actually, over his life. So he turned out to be a very fragile infant. He turned into a wobbly toddler. He turned into a go-getting teenager, and he's now actually turning out to be a very confident young man. And what I've been reflecting on is that we've actually benefited from technological progress and medical advances which have really helped him along the way. And he's now just actually waiting to graduate in about 3 or 4 weeks' time. No doubt that disability has shaped him as a person. Humour has underpinned everything in his life, for sure. And we're really looking forward to him, progressing into a master's in September, and then hopefully into a career in broadcasting. And finally, I'll leave you with this picture. This is my job as caregiver, I think, is actually coming to an end. And I was wondering who I'm going to hand on the torch to. Now, the vacancy for girlfriend has just been filled, and Henry and Jess are very much a unit now, so I'm just wondering who I'm going to hand on the torch to. So I'll leave you to decide. Thank you.